What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my full card breakdown and prediction video for UFC London. We have Sean Brady going against Leon Edwards. We're getting right back into it here for a pretty solid fight night card. We're going to be in London for this card, of course, and an early start time, which I love. I love these early start times. You know, the fights get over, and hey, you still have a Saturday night, which means you can go out and you can do it, whatever you want. You can go out there, hang with friends. You can, maybe visit your family. Maybe go to the strip club and, yeah, you can do anything you want. So I love these early cars. You get over and you can enjoy your Saturday. And I'm hoping, everything goes well. And yeah, it should be a solid card here. Looking to keep the ball rolling. Had a phenomenal week last week. Cashed 3 submission props. Shout out to Damon Blackshear. Shout out to Andre Lima. And most especially, shout out to Carlos Vera cashing a 13-1 sub prop. So yeah, hoping to keep the ball rolling for UFC London. A lot of spots sticking out. A lot of underdogs sticking out. A couple plays already. So I'm hoping we can make it 3 in a row here for UFC London. Before we get into it, if you guys could like the video, subscribe to the channel. I do want to shout out Prize Picks. Right now, if you guys go to Prize Picks, you use code DFSBTN, you'll get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Whether you win it or lose it, you'll get $50 instantly into your Prize Picks account with that code DFSBTN. And now's a great time to sign up. March Madness is starting. I love March Madness. I have not watched a basketball game all year, but March Madness is something that I love. Every single year, it's fun. And they're giving you a free pick. So they are giving a Johnny Broom free pick. I don't know who the hell Johnny Broom is, but he must be pretty good. Plays for Ulberg, it looks like, and his points are set at 0.5. So Johnny Broom, and I'm almost 100% sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. He needs 1 point. Get yourself that free square. Use that code DFSBTN, and let's go, Johnny Broom. Get it done. Get 1 basket, for the love of God. And then I do want to shout out the winner for last week's Significant Strike contest. The correct answer was 252 significant strikes. And shout out to JBK5281998 saying, love the content, Brady. 251 was my guess. Got in on Vittori at minus 127. Underrated place to get value, etc. So Vittori obviously didn't cash, but hey, You won the contest. You won the Significant Strike contest, so I'm going to reimburse you a little bit with some prize winnings. So JBK, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram with your PayPal or Cash App. Congrats, you won. There was actually a 2-way tie. 2 people guessed 251, but JBK was the first person to comment that. And I said last week, trying to get somebody to hit it on the dot. Nobody has got it on the dot yet, so we're going to run it back. We're going to run it back for UFC London. Comment down how many significant strikes you think that Sean Brady and Leon Edwards are going to combine for, and $25 to first. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker goes to the person that commented first, and if you get it on the dot, I'm going to double the prize to $50. Nobody's got it on the dot in a while, so comment down those significant strikes there. And with all that out of the way, we got a lot of fights to talk about, so I say we get right into it. There will be no singing on this episode, but I got something special planned for UFC 314. But no singing, guys. No more of that. With that said, though, I don't think I've ever had so many comments and I gained like so many subs. Maybe I should sing, but no, not today. All right, we're kicking it off with Guram Kutateladze going against Caio Fernandes. We got Guram Kutateladze. He's 33 years old, 5'11", with a 72. Why is my picture? Oh, I moved it for the Prize Picks. Okay, we're back. So yeah, he's 13-4. Guram 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Caio Fernandes, he is 30 years old, 5'9", with a 73-inch reach, 9-2 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So I like this card quite a bit because unlike the cards of recent, we don't have a ton of big favorites. A lot of these fights are very closely lined, besides this fight and a couple others. But yeah, so Guram is one of the biggest favorites on the card. I think he's like the second biggest favorite. Guram Kutateladze opened up minus 275. He's currently sitting as a minus 450 favorite. And then we got Caio Fernandes opened up plus 235. He is currently sitting as a plus 350 underdog. So I'm not the biggest Guram Kutateladze fan. He did gain a ton of hype after his debut against Mateusz Gamrot in a fight that I thought he clearly lost, a fight that he thought he clearly lost, but they ended up scoring it for him because the judges, they're crooked, they're corrupt, they're blind, they're awful, and they scored the fight for Guram when Mateusz Gamrot, I thought, clearly won the fight. But yeah, he got a lot of hype after that. Since then, he's 1-2. Since that Gamrot win, he's 1-2. But yeah, this is a spot where I think early on it could be competitive. Like Caio Fernandes, he actually has some very, very solid striking. There's two problems with Caio Fernandes, though. Problem number one, terrible cardio. This guy slows down after the first 5 minutes, maybe 7.5, but most of the time 5 minutes, and then he's slowing down as the fight goes on. That's problem number one. Problem number two, this guy has the worst takedown defense you will ever see in your entire life. A gust of wind can take this guy down. I bet he's laying on his back right now. This guy loves to lay on his back, and he just can't get up. I bet he's laying in his hotel room on his comfy ass bed, and he just can't get up, because that's what Caio Fernandes does. He's one of those BJJ guys who, he has a black belt, he'll throw up submissions, but he'll lose minutes, and that's what probably happened here. Guram, he can mix in the occasional takedown, was actually able to take down and hold down Jordan Vucenic, who we'll talk about for a little bit. So that's kind of how I see the fight going, right? Competitive early, Guram starts to take over more and more, probably gets on top, probably wins minutes, and I'm kind of leaning a Guram Kutateladze by decision. So give me Guram here, and Guram to win this fight by decision. Moving on to the next fight, it is Nathan Fletcher going against Colin Loughran. We got Nathan Fletcher, 27 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach, 9-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Colin Loughran, 28 years old, 5'6", with a 68-inch reach, 9-2 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We have Nathan Fletcher opened up plus 130. He's currently minus 125. We have Colin Loughran, who opened up minus 150. He's currently minus 105. So the line flipped, but it looks like as of recent, some money is coming in on the Colin Loughran side. And this is a very interesting fight. This is actually a rematch, and we're going to hear that a lot throughout the week. This is a rematch. These guys fought it as an amateur, and that fight was back in like 2018, 2017, even, like a very long time ago, like 7-8 years ago at that point. So, Nathan Fletcher did win that fight. It was competitive. Both guys had their moments, but Nathan Fletcher ultimately, won the fight. I'm looking at this matchup, and I'm like, I think people are very low on Colin Loughran. This guy went out there and just completely dropped the ball in his fight against Jake Hadley. Like, that was one of the most piss-poor performances, the most piss-poor showings of IQ I have seen in some time in that Jake Hadley fight. He went out there and just proceeded to get jabbed up across 15 minutes by Jake Hadley, barely tried to wrestle, didn't attempt one takedown in the first round. See, I think people are kind of low on Loughran, but I'm looking at this matchup stylistically, and it's like, Loughran's not going to have that problem in this fight against Fletcher. Like, Fletcher doesn't really have much striking at all, especially, Jake Hadley's a much better striker than Nathan Fletcher. I think Loughran's going to have a pretty big striking advantage, to be honest, and I think this fight is going to play out on the mat a lot, and it's like, is Nathan Fletcher going to be able to take down Colin Loughran? Maybe. Is he going to be able to hold him down? I'm not so sure. You take a look at Nathan Fletcher, he's getting reversed in a lot of fights, even in his tough finale fight against Ramoska. He got reversed a couple times in that fight, and I went back and watched his fight against Khan Offley, and he made Khan Offley look like Khabib Nurmagomedov out there. Offley was taking him down, controlling him, and I kind of feel like Loughran can do exactly that. The only problem is, I think Loughran's kind of an idiot, to be honest. Kind of a meathead, just doesn't seem like the smartest guy, and he kind of showed that in the Hadley fight. But yeah, I think stylistically it's a solid matchup. I think he can take down Fletcher. I think he's more likely to get on top. He's a BJJ black belt in his own right, good grappler in his own right, striking advantage. I think there's some reasons to like Loughran here. So I'll take Loughran to win this fight. I'll take it to win by decision. I do think it's going to be a back and forth. I think it's going to be competitive, but ultimately I'll take Loughran to win this fight on the scorecards. Moving on, oh God, we got Shauna Bannon going against Puja Tomar. We got Shauna Bannon, 31 years old, 5'5", with a 65-inch reach, 6-1 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Puja Tomar, 31 years old, 5'4", with a 59-inch reach, 9-4 and 5-0 in her last 5 fights. We have Shauna Bannon, believe it or not, as the favorite. She opened up at plus 215. I guess. She's currently minus 170. Puja Tomar opened up at minus 255. She's currently plus 145. Jeez. So this fight, I think, is going to decision at a very high clip, and I think it's going to come down into the hands of the crooked, blind, corrupt, just awful, just terrible judges, and I think this has split decision written all over it. I think this is the most split decision fight I've seen in a very long time. I'd be shocked if it wasn't a split decision, to be honest here. Are the crooked judges going to favor the air punches, the air kicks of Shauna Bannon? All she hits is air. Or are they going to favor the volume, the kicks of Puja Tomar, the yelling, the screaming, the aggressiveness, if you will, of Puja Tomar? I don't know. I'm not a judge. I'm not crooked nor corrupt, so I don't know what they're going to think. But one fighter is minus 180, one fighter is plus 155. Flip a coin, give me the plus 155 dog. But to be honest, I mean, who cares about this fight? I mean, this is bad. This is very, very bad. Very, very bad. But I'm going to pick Puja Tomar to win this fight. One thing I'll say about Puja that I liked in her debut, and I thought she lost that fight. I actually, and maybe it's a good thing I'm not a judge, but I actually scored that fight 30-27 for Rayon dos Santos. One judge actually agreed with me. One judge scored it with me 30-27 dos Santos, but another judge scored it 30-27 Puja Tomar, right? It was a very close fight. I didn't think she won it, but the reason I think she won it was because she was very active with the kicks. And she did start yelling, and judges do like yelling, and judges do like activity. So give me Puja here. Puja by decision. Let's move on for the love of God. We have Christian Leroy Duncan going against Andre Puliayev. We got Christian Leroy Duncan, 29 years old, 6'2" with a 79-inch reach, 10-2 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Andre Puliayev, or Puliayev, or whatever the hell his name is. Who cares? He's going to lose. He's 27 years old, 6'4", with a 78.5-inch reach, 9-2 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Christian Leroy Duncan, the biggest favorite on the card. He opened at minus 400. He's currently minus 650. Puliayev opened up plus 330. He's currently plus 475. And yeah, this is how Christian Leroy Duncan's career is going to go, I suppose. He's going to go in there, and he's going to beat these lower-level guys. You know, he has wins over Claudio Ribeiro, Denis Tualuin, and Dusko Todorovic, but he has losses against Gregory Rodriguez and Armin Petrosian. So it kind of seems like he is going to go out there, and he's going to beat the bottom-tier guys, and he's going to beat them in spectacular fashion and get a finish. But anytime he takes a step up and fights somebody halfway decent, he just looks overrated. He just doesn't look as good as people hype him up to be, right? But yeah, I kind of feel like Puliayev goes into the category of the Ribeiros, Tulianians, and Dusko Todorovics. So I got Christian Leroy Duncan here. I'm going to take him to win this fight by second round knockout. But, yeah, we'll see. Puliayev, he looked good on the Contender Series, but he fought an absolute walking punching bag in Liam Anderson. His striking looked good, but, I mean, Liam Anderson blocks punches with his face. So, yeah, give me Christian Leroy Duncan here to win this fight and win it by second round knockout. Moving on to the next fight, we got heavyweight fight is Marcin Tybura going against Mick Parkin. We got Marcin Tybura, 39 years old, 6'3" with a 78-inch reach, 26-9 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Mick Parkin, 29 years old, 6'4", with a 79-inch reach, 10-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. It has not been a great year for undefeated fighters. Undefeated fighters have been losing left and right. It's been crazy this year. Does the trend continue on UFC London? We'll have to find out. But I don't know. A lot of people are on Mick Parkin this week, and I get it. You know, he's 10 years younger. You know, he's a decent striker. He trained with Tom Aspinall. That's a big talking point this week. But I'm looking at this fight and, like, what does a Mick Parkin win look like? And a Mick Parkin win looks like first of all, terrible fight that goes 15 minutes, that takes place on the feet, and that is very competitive. I think that's what a Mick Parkin, you know, best case scenario win looks like. And I'm looking through the record of Mick Parkin, and yes, he's undefeated. Yes, he's winning these fights, but against who? You know, Lucas Bresky, Muhammad Usman, Jamal Pogues, Eduardo Neves, and Kyle Machado. And I went back and watched that Kyle Machado fight, and Machado was piecing this dude up on the feet. Like, he was a minus 300 favorite in that Kyle Machado fight, and Machado actually outlanded Mick Parkin 68-34. So I actually think, maybe it's a hot take, maybe it's not, the striking is going to be a lot closer than people think. A lot closer. Marcin Tybura has been in there with some of the best in the UFC, in the heavyweight division. Marcin Tybura, when he's losing to fighters, he's losing to the best of the best. He's losing to guys like, say what you want against Sergey Spivak. When Sergey Spivak's on, he's great. Tom Aspinall, Alexander Volkov, guys like, Derek Lewis, Fabricio Verdum back in the day. So yeah, when this guy is losing, he's losing to legit heavyweights. Is Mick Parkin a legit heavyweight? I don't know. What does Mick Parkin's takedown defense look like? What does his ground game look like? What happens when he gets taken down? How good is he off his back? He says he's a black belt, but I haven't seen it. So I just feel like Tybura, worst case scenario, it's a very close and competitive fight on the feet. But best case scenario, Tybura does what Tybura does, gets on top of this guy and dominates. So I'm going to take in what is going to be the dog. He's not the dog yet. Tybura will be the dog. I'm going to take the underdog here and Marcin Tybura to win this fight, and I'm going to take him to win this fight by decision. Next fight up, we got Lonnie Kavanagh going against Felipe Dos Santos. We got Kavanagh, 25 years old, 5'4", with a 67-inch reach, 8-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Felipe Dos Santos, he is 24 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach, 8-2 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. This is another undefeated guy first and foremost, but another big favorite. Kavanagh opened up minus 285. He's currently minus 300. As far as Felipe Dos Santos, he opened up plus 330. He's currently plus 250 underdog here. And yeah, this is one of those things where, Felipe Dos Santos, he's still young. He's still a very young fighter. I think he still has, some room for improvement. But I think we all, as a community, kind of really overrated him in his loss to Manel Kape. And, Manel Kape's one of those guys that will kind of fight down to his opponents. He'll kind of mess around in there a little bit. And I think that's what happened in that fight, because his next fight against Victor Altamirano was just a horrible look. This guy lost to Victor Altamirano, and the crooked, corrupt judges, they gave him the fight. I was actually shocked that they did not score the fight for Altamirano because, first and foremost, the striking was very close. The striking was tit for tat, very competitive. And then on top of that, Altamirano landed 9 takedowns. So, yeah, you probably should give it to Altamirano, right? And that's a horrible look. It's just a horrible look. This guy sports a 14% takedown defense. He sports a 41% striking defense. So Lonnie Kavanagh, not known as a wrestler or a grappler, he can wrestle and grapple. I've seen him go out there and mix in takedowns, and if he wants them here, they're free. Lonnie Kavanagh's good, man. His striking's very clean, very quick, has a lot of power for the division as well. And with how defensively irresponsible Felipe Dos Santos is, I think Lonnie's going to have no problem finding the target. And like I said, mixing those takedowns if need be. So give me Lonnie Kavanagh here. I do think Felipe Dos Santos is very tough. Shoot to box guy, very tough, very durable, hard to get out of there. So I'll say it's a Lonnie Kavanagh by decision win. Next fight up, we have a very fun fight here in the lightweight division. It is Jai Herbert going against Chris Taco Padilla. We got Jai Herbert, 36 years old, 6'1", with a 77-inch reach, 13-5-1 and 2-2-1 in his last 5 fights. Chris Taco Padilla, 29 years old, 5'9", with a 74-inch reach, 15-6 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. We have Jai Herbert opened up minus 200. He is currently sitting at minus 120. We got Chris Padilla opening up at plus 170, and he's currently sitting as a plus 100 underdog. Some money coming in on the dog here in Chris Padilla. And Chris Padilla is a very interesting fighter, very interesting guy. Just kind of came out of nowhere. This guy has a lot of fights, very well tested on the regional scene. And I'll be honest, I didn't think this guy was any good coming into his debut on short notice against Hamaz Yatop. I just wasn't really impressed with what I saw from Chris Padilla, but he went out there against Yatop, took him down, and submitted him very shortly after. A lot of people are talking crap about that win. Finishing Hamaz Yatop is not easy to do. I mean, Yatop, say what you want about him, this guy went 15 minutes with Mauricio Hufi, who nobody's been able to do that yet, and I don't think anybody's going to be able to do that for a very long time. So finishing Yatop in the first round, that's not easy at all to do. And then he went out there against Rong Zhu, who Rong Zhu is a very good striker. I think that win's going to age greatly. We saw what he did to Cody Steele, and Rong Zhu's 24, improving and looking really good lately. He went out there, and I went back and watched that fight. That fight was very competitive. Padilla actually outlanded Rong Zhu in the first round, 35-27, and then in the second round, he lands a nasty elbow that blows up Rong Zhu's eye, and the doctor's forced to stop the fight. So I'm watching these two Padilla fights, And this guy just looks like a completely different fighter, which is to be expected. This guy is 29 years old. I was watching fights back when he was like 23, 24, or even younger, and there were some bad things I didn't like. There, I've seen him broken. I've seen him hurt to the body. I've seen him slow down. But I think this guy's improved a lot, and I think people are kind of missing that. As far as Jai Herbert, yeah, this guy is 36 years old, turning 37 very shortly. A guy that is very skilled, but he's kind of changed up his style. This guy, his nickname is the Black Country Banger, and he doesn't bang anymore, man. This guy does not bang, and he hasn't banged for a while since that Topuria fight. I think Topuria kind of took his soul because he fights completely different. Now he's very hesitant. He's very low volume. He's very careful. He doesn't want to go out there and bang because he knows he can't. He doesn't have the chin to bang. He's 37 at this point. He's been finished how many times in his career? He's been knocked out, submitted. So he's fighting a lot smarter, which is great. I think that's a great move for Herbert. He knows that he can't go out there and swing dicks anymore. But I kind of feel like Padilla's going to make him swing his stick a little bit. I think he's going to test Herbert's durability a little bit here. I think Padilla's going to test Herbert's ground game a little bit here, which we haven't seen tested since the Moicano fight a couple years ago. So, yeah, skill for skill, I think Herbert's probably the more skilled fighter, skilled striker especially, but I think Padilla has all the finishing upside because I don't think Herbert's finishing anybody ever again. He just doesn't have any aggressiveness anymore. So I think Padilla has the finishing upside. I think Padilla's more durable especially. I think Padilla's younger. I think Padilla has all the grappling upside. Could Herbert outpoint him? Make it boring for 15 minutes potentially, but I think Padilla's a live dog here. So give me Taka Padilla to win this fight. I'll take him to win this fight by a very close decision, having the bigger moments, mixing in the occasional takedown, maybe finishing, but I'll say it's a close decision win for Taka Padilla. 3-0 in the UFC potentially. We'll see. Next fight, I believe this is opening up the main card. It is Morgan Charriere going against Nathaniel Wood. We got Charriere, 29 years old, 5'8" with a 69-inch reach, 20-10-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Nathaniel Wood, 31 years old, 5'6" with a 69-inch reach, 20-6, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. We have Charriere. He is the favorite. He opened up plus 205, I guess. He's currently minus 170, though. Nathaniel Wood opened at minus 240. He's currently plus 145. I think this is actually one of the closest fights on the card. I think the Tomar Bannon fight is a very close fight. I think this fight is just as close. This has split decision written all over it, and here's why. Morgan Charriere is the split decision king. Well, the king of losing him. This guy is 5-9 in decisions. If he's not finishing his opponent, he's going to a very, very close decision. And I can see that here. Charriere's more durable. He's a little younger. He has more power. But Nathaniel Wood, this guy has just a big volume advantage. Nathaniel Wood throws incredible volume. We've seen Charriere throughout his entire career, be a little low volume at times. So I think it's going to come down between, do the crooked judges favor the big shots, the big moments of Morgan Charriere, or do they favor the volume of Nathaniel Wood? Again, I don't know. I'm not a crooked, corrupt judge. I'm not in their shoes, but I kind of feel like they might side with the hometown guy. Nathaniel Wood fighting in his hometown. I could see them maybe giving some hometown cooking in this one. So in a fight that I think is very close, I'm gonna take Wood here just to do a little bit more, and I'll say Morgan Charriere loses his 50th decision. I mean, Morgan Charriere's lost so many decisions in his career, so if he's not finishing Wood, I think he loses a close decision here. Give me Nathaniel Wood by decision. Moving on to the next fight, it is Jordan Vucenic going against Chris Duncan. We got Vucenic, 29 years old, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach, 13-3, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Chris Duncan, 31 years old, 5'10" with a 71.5-inch reach. He's 12-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We have Vucenic as a big favorite in this fight. He has opened up minus 125. Jeez, he's currently minus 400. Chris Duncan opened up plus 105. He's currently sitting at plus 300. And yeah, I like Vucenic. I think this guy's pretty good. He's only 29 years old. I think this guy's going to win a lot of fights in the UFC. I was really impressed with the striking of Vucenic, not only in the Kutateladze fight, but in fights prior. Very solid striking, to be honest, and I think he's going to have the striking advantage here, but it's that opportunistic submission game I like the most. If this guy's able to get on top, he puts his opponents into a lot of bad spots. He's able to find submissions more often than not. This guy's good. well-rounded. Wherever the fight goes, he's tough, he's durable, 3 losses, all by decision, and he's going against Chris Duncan, who I think is kind of underrated, but in this matchup, it's like, I kind of feel like Vucenic has Duncan covered everywhere. I think on the feet, Vucenic is going to have a big speed advantage. Chris Duncan's a walking punching bag. He blocks punches with his face. I don't think he's that durable either, so I think Vucenic is more defensively sound. I think he's a lot more durable. I think he's just a better striker in general, and then you take a look at the grappling, it's like, I think Vucenic has a big advantage in the grappling. I know Chris Duncan got a submission in his last fight, but Chris Duncan also got insta-tapped by Manuel Torres, of all people. I went back and watched that Manuel Torres fight, and Manuel Torres, who quite frankly just isn't that good at all, was ragdolling Chris Duncan, took him down twice, and then insta-tapped him, made him look like Khamzat Chimaev. So I kind of have a feeling if Jordan Vucenic gets on top of Chris Duncan, it might be a wrap. So I like Vucenic here. I think he eventually finds a finish. Is it a knockout, as a sub? Kind of lean sub. Give me Jordan Vucenic to win this fight by second round submission. Next fight on the main card, it is Alexa Thainara going against Molly McCann. We got Thainara, 27 years old, 5'4", with a 67-inch reach, 11-1 and 5-0 in her last 5 fights. Molly McCann, 34 years old, 5'4", with a 62-inch reach, 14-7 and 2-3 in her last 5 fights. So Thainara, believe it or not, opened up plus 325. What's up with these openers this week? But yeah, she opened up plus 325. She's now a minus 175. As far as McCann, she opened up minus 425. She's currently plus 150. So yeah, I kind of forgot about who the heck Thainara was, but I did remember I taped her for the Contender Series, went back and looked at my notes, and went back and watched her fight on the Contender Series. And one thing I'll say about Thainara is you go and watch her fights outside of that Rose fight on the Contender Series, and she's made some of the biggest improvements I think I've ever seen in the striking. Like, her striking looked awful outside of her Contender Series fight. Like, she's just closing her eyes, looping big, wild punches that hit nothing but air. But on the Contender Series, her striking looked legit. Like, it was unrecognizable how good Thainara looked when it came to the striking. Like, she looked very good. But what I also like about Thainara is she's a black belt in BJJ. She trains with Amanda Hebos and them. Her ground game is very good. She has multiple submissions. She has like 3 or 4 arm bars. She has 3 or 4 rear naked chokes. So whether she's on top or on bottom, she's very dangerous. And we've seen Molly McCann put into some bad spots on the mat. We've seen Molly McCann submitted a handful of times. Blanchfield got her with the Kimura. Stoliarenko got her with the armbar. We've seen Jillian Robertson get her with the rear naked choke. We saw Bruna Brazil take Molly McCann's back multiple times in her last fight. So it's like, on the feet, you would think you'd favor McCann, but I don't know. Thainara's striking is leveling up at such a rapid rate. We'll have to see. But in the grappling, if this fight hits the mat, which I think it will, I think Molly McCann's in a world of trouble. So yeah, the line's kind of weird. You would think that, Molly McCann in London, you would think she might be a favorite here, but no, Thainara is actually the favorite, and I'm kind of leaning her way. Give me Thainara here, and I think she gets a sub. Is it an armbar? Is it a rear naked choke? I don't know. It could be either, but I think it's one of the two. I think it's either an armbar from guard or a rear naked choke. But yeah, give me Thainara to win this fight. I'll take her to win it by first round sub. All right, next fight. We have Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland. We got Gunnar Nelson, 36 years old, 5'11", with a 72.5-inch reach, 19, 5-1, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Kevin Holland, 32 years old, 6'3", with an 81-inch reach, 26-13, and 1-4 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. We have Kevin Holland is the dog. He opened up minus 135. He's currently plus 110. Gunnar Nelson is the favorite, and he opened up plus 115. He is currently minus 130. So this is the official 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the week. If you are betting on this fight, if you are thinking about betting on either of these two, you need to call 1-800-GAMBLER instantly. We'll get you some help. We'll get you all fixed up because nobody should be betting on either of these two. With that said, I do have a bet on this fight. So, yeah, I don't feel great about it. I probably do need to get some help. Something's probably seriously wrong with me. But I do have a bet on this fight. So let's talk about the Gunnar Nelson side first. Gunnar Nelson is 36 years old, turning 37 in a few months. Gunnar Nelson has been very inactive. Gunnar Nelson has fought 2 times in the last 5 years. 2 times in the last 5 years has Gunnar Nelson. Major red flags. No striking, especially when it compares to Holland. I mean, the striking advantage is astronomical in favor of Holland. So I don't like that for Gunnar Nelson. He's coming off of a 2-year layoff. We just saw what a 2-year layoff did to poor Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori looked washed at 31. Those layoffs are no joke. On the Kevin Holland side, we have a complete idiot. I mean, Kevin Holland's just an idiot. I think we can all agree on that. You know, it's not a hot take. This guy is just a complete idiot. He does not care about his career. He literally admits to it. He admits that he doesn't care. He doesn't care about winning. He literally does not care about his career. This guy, you know, fighting up at middleweight just made no sense for Kevin Holland. Like, why are you going out there and fighting these big middleweights, you know, who are just going to take you down and either control you for 15 to 25 minutes or sub you? Just makes no sense. But a major thing in this fight is this fight's at welterweight, which tells me a little something. It tells me that, hey, Kevin Holland, he might care a little bit because he's cutting down to welterweight where he belongs. Kevin Holland's 4-3 at welterweight, not the best record, but his losses come to all strikers. Stephen Thompson, Jack Della Maddalena, and MVP. He hasn't lost to a grappler in the welterweight division because he's not fighting he's not fighting a big Roman Dolidze. He's not fighting a Khamzat Chimaev down here at welterweight. He's not fighting some of these, you know, a Derek Brunson, even a Marvin Vettori. So if Kevin Holland is ever going to win a fight ever again, it's going to be in this fight against Gunnar Nelson. Astronomical striking advantage. You know, if he does get taken down, you know, just stay safe. You know, try not to get taken down first and foremost. But yeah, I think this could be the spot, man. This could be the Kevin Holland spot. So I'm going one last ride with Kevin Holland. I've said it time and time again. Never again with Kevin Holland. But he's fighting a 36-year-old guy with no striking on a 2-year layoff who's fought 2 times in the last 5 years. One last ride, Kevin Holland. Don't let me down. Knock this guy out. Give me Kevin Holland to win this fight and win this fight by second round knockout. Oh, I feel awful. I need to set up like a appointment with a therapist or something after betting on that guy, Kevin Holland. But hey, it is what it is. Kevin Holland knockout. Moving on to the co-main event, it's Carlos Ulberg going against Jan Blachowicz. We got Carlos Ulberg, 34 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach, 11-1, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Jan Blachowicz, 42 years old, 6'2", with a 78-inch reach, 29-10 and 1, and 2-2-1 in his last 5 fights. We have Ulberg opening up minus 185. He's currently minus 275. Jan Blachowicz opened up as a plus 170 underdog. He's currently sitting as a plus 245 underdog. So I'll keep this one simple. If this fight was a couple years ago, I would be all over Jan Blachowicz in this matchup. The fact of the matter is, this guy's 42 years old. He hasn't fought in a very long time. Like, that Alex Pereira fight was probably about a year and a half, if not more, at this point. He's coming off of some shoulder surgeries. He's had like a very bad neck injury in the past couple years. Jan Blachowicz nowadays is coming in there with those double knee sleeves, you know, the ankle wraps. He'll probably come in there with some of those shoulder, you know, the shoulder wraps they have, double shoulder wraps, maybe even a neck brace. Jan Blachowicz has been through it with these injuries, you know, and he's 42 years old at this point. Yeah, it's just hard to imagine him coming here and, I mean, if he beats Carlos, I mean, that'd be a big upset in my opinion, because Ulberg, he's not gonna have double knee sleeves. He's not gonna wear a neck brace in there. He's not gonna, you know, wheel to the cage in a wheelchair like I think Jan Blachowicz is. I mean, Jan Blachowicz is just, he's just taking a ton of like the injuries I think are just adding up. I don't think this is gonna be the same guy that he was a couple of years ago, and that's, you know, that's to be expected. The dude's 42. coming off of some major injuries. So give me Ulberg by decision. I can make a path in my head for Blachowicz, but I want to see the walkout here. I mean, if Jan Blachowicz shows up and he's in those double knee sleeves, looking old and withered and limping to the cage, the ankle braces, and yeah, if Jan Blachowicz is showing up with those double knee sleeves, I'll probably stay away. But if he shows up, no double knee sleeves, looks ready to go, maybe I will take a little poke at this price, because this price tag is ridiculous. I mean, Jan Blachowicz lost to Alex Pereira by split decision, barely got a draw with, Magomed Ankalaev. I mean, this line is kind of silly, but at the same time, it's like, I think Jan Blachowicz is done. So give me Ulberg by decision. Moving on to the main event. If you guys have not already, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then leave down the significant strike guesses between these two. $25 the first. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker goes to the person that commented first. And if you get it on the dot, I'm going to double it up to $50 prize winnings to the winner. Sean Brady, Leon Edwards. We got Sean Brady, 32 years old, 5'10" with a 72.5-inch reach, 17-1. And 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Leon Edwards, 33 years old, 6'2", with a 74-inch reach, 22-4 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. We have Sean Brady opened up plus 130, currently minus 160. Leon Edwards opened up minus 150, currently plus 140. I have no idea what to do with this fight. I really don't. I'll be honest. I've been going back and forth on this one. It's a very tough fight to call, in my opinion. I think the line is kind of off. I think there's some recency bias here. Like Belal Muhammad was an underdog against Leon Edwards, right? And now Brady's minus 160. I don't know. I think a lot of people are just thinking like, Sean Brady's going to go in there and do what Belal did. But there's one big problem there. Sean Brady, although a very good fighter, and I'm a big Sean Brady fan, Sean Brady is not Belal Muhammad. So, it's a very tough one. I think for Sean to win this fight, he's going to have to pressure. He's going to have to, come forward, which he does, which is good. He's going to have to get takedowns. He's going to have to, get some control time, and I think he can. But ultimately, I think this fight's going to be super close. We are in London. And if this fight is close, maybe the judges do give it to the hometown guy. I can absolutely see it. I think Leon Edwards is clearly the better striker, although I think Brady's striking is underrated. Oh, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. I don't know. I think it's very, very close here. I'll go with Leon Edwards here to win the fight in a very, very, very close fight. I think he wins a very close, could be like a home cooking type fight, because I think Brady's going to need takedowns and control time in at least 3 of the 5 rounds, and I don't know. I don't think he has the cardio of Belal. I don't think he has the wrestling of Belal. I don't think he has the striking of Belal. I think people just really underestimate how good Belal Muhammad is. So, very close fight. I hate this pick. I'm not a big Leon Edwards fan. I'm probably one of the biggest Leon Edwards haters out there, but I just think this line's kind of off. I think there's a lot of recency bias here. Brady looked incredible against Gilbert Burns, but Burns is 38. Burns has taken a ton of damage. Burns got knocked out with a jab against Muhammad Usman. So, yeah, if Brady wins this fight, hats off to him. And maybe he does, but I'm going to go Edwards here. I'm going to go Edwards to win this fight by decision. Don't think I'm betting this fight, though. I'll probably stay away. But yeah, this line's kind of surprising to me. It is kind of surprising. I feel like Leon Edwards is getting a little bit disrespected in this fight. Like, Leon Edwards he's good. He's not fun to watch. He's horrible to watch. This guy's fights put me to sleep, but he's a very good fighter. So give me Leon Edwards for the upset. There you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys could, do me a favor, like on your way out. Subscribe on your way out. If you guys do want to support me more, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. I have a lot of bets on this card, a lot of dogs as well. Not a ton of props sticking out. Got to be careful with the props on London cards. London fights typically do go the distance, which is why I picked a lot of decisions. But yeah, I think a lot of underdogs sticking out, and we'll see what happens. Trying to make 3 winning events in a row, and yeah, hopefully we can stack another one up and go enjoy our Saturday night. Like I said, maybe hit the strip club, maybe hit the casino. Maybe go see a movie. Maybe go see some family. I mean, the options are endless after these fights. We're going to have fun after these fights, I think. So, best of luck, everybody, and we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.